So you have a foldable that looks like this, except yours is in color. But I'm going to just show you what we're going to do with it, and you should just follow along with yours, even though it looks a little bit different. So it looks like this. You're going to fold over like this. So fold it neatly in half. Okay, and then you're going to cut along all of these dotted lines. So I'm going to just unfold it because it makes it a little easier. Cut as neatly as you can along these dotted lines. Like this. And then for these two, the ones that say cut this out, just cut along, sort of along that fold as well, so that you are taking out those squares. And those are scraps, so please make sure those go in the garbage, not on the floor, on your desk. If you want to go throw them away right now, go ahead, just pause it and go throw them away, but please don't leave them on the floor. And then, this is what you have. And let's take a look, and I'm gonna flip it over so I can just crease along this, so it stays creased. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. We have y equals mx plus b, which is hopefully feeling very familiar to you. And so there's a few pieces. The two that you're most familiar with already is, this is the m, which is slope. M represents slope. And then in terms of real life, we talk about the rate of change. And b represents the y-intercept on a graph. Or in real life, we talk about it representing the starting point. Now, what we haven't talked about as much is the two variables. And now, variables are two things that change, right? Variable has the word vary in it. Vary means change. And so what we have is we have an independent and a dependent variable. And you've talked about this in science. And it's very much the same concept in math. Another word I like to use for independent variable is input. It's like what is put into the situation, and then the dependent is sort of what you get out of the situation. And so there's a variety of things that can be independent variables and dependent variables, and it's sort of hard to choose. And I think that's probably the hardest part of this topic. And so in the examples, we'll talk about each time which ones are independent, which ones are dependent. But right now, let's go to the left side of page 41. So this is the left side of page 41. Okay, left side of page 41. And you're going to tape it like this. So grab a couple pieces of tape and zoom out, right? And so I'm just going to put like one piece right here and one piece here and one piece over here on the bottom, right? So you just tape it down however you feel makes the most sense for you. But here's my y equals mx plus b, okay? And again, this is the left side of page 41. And so with regards to deciding what's independent and what's dependent, it's challenging and it's sort of on a case-by-case basis. But one thing to know is that a lot of times the situations we talk about in math, a lot of times they involve either time passing or someone making money, right? It's like a very common situations for us to talk about. And so one thing to know, which is helpful, is that time is always an independent variable. Because time does not depend on anything. There's nothing that you can do to speed up or slow down time. So there's nothing that you can do that would change time passing. And so time has to be an independent variable because it just does its own thing. And it can't be affected by anything that you do. Okay? So time is always the independent variable. So if you have a situation where like time is passing and you're adding money to a savings account, or time is passing and you're working out more each day, or whatever it is, that time is going to be the x value, the independent variable. And then on the flip side, another thing we talk about is money and like paying for things. And so money is pretty much always a dependent variable, right? It's like money doesn't just happen. It doesn't just, you don't just get money. You get money as a result of doing something, or you spend money as a result of doing something, right? Like you work a certain number of hours and that causes you to make money. Or you buy a certain number of bags of chips and that causes you to lose money. And so money is always the output. It's always like you making or losing money is always the effect of some other action. So this is a good thing to remember to help out, is that time is always independent and money is always dependent. Otherwise, it's kind of a case-by-case basis, and we'll talk about the examples as we get to them.